we're going to be carving a Santa Christmas ornament. This is a relief carving. I've got some holes here in the beard, so that makes it kind of a pierced relief. It's flat on the back. I have a little hanging thing to hang it on the wall, and I've got it painted, and I used a little latex paint, really washed out latex paint for the beard, and I used a red colored pencil for the hat on there. Also, to do the shading in the eyes and in the mouth, I just went in there with a little pencil, just a regular number 2. It's an HB lead pencil, and just to increase the shadows in there. Anyway, we start out. I have a pattern. I suggest you maybe modify it a little bit for yourself, but I'm using that plastic that I bought from Home Depot. It really makes nice patterns, so it cuts very nice with a knife. So I just drew it out on here, and I just cut it out. Also the holes in here, just take and cut it out with a knife. Then the next thing I do is I transfer it to the block of wood, saw the holes in it with the coping saw. Okay, so this is the one we're going to be doing, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw. So I look at the reference points on the pattern, and this is the ball for the hat here. This is where the hat folds down. The brim of the hat, the fur on that hat comes around this way. And then I do the nose coming like this. So the head is tilted a little bit. Now the eyes, normally when they do the eye, they have, what they try to do with an eye is they do the upper lid like so, and the bottom lid, and the eyeball, and all of that kind of thing. We're not going to do that. All we're going to do is we're going to make a V in the top, just kind of like have that little V stick out. The cheek is going to be up here because he's smiling. So this is the bottom of the cheek right here. Then we're just going to put a little hole right there, right in the underside. So this is kind of raised, little peak there, and then we're just going to take the tip of the knife and make a hole. And that's what that eye is. Now the other eye is just a hole because it's almost tucked under the brim of the hat. So as that comes over here, we're just going to tuck that right in here, put this here, and then I'm going to straighten his nose a little bit. That puts that eye a little further under that hat. And that's where the nose is going to be. The mouth is like this. The mouth is going to be open. And then we're just going to have the beard flowing around. I'm going to be using 2 tools for this. This is your number 47, which is that small V tool. And then this is the number 5 gouge. That is about a 1/2 inch width on it. So I make the stop cuts for the hat here first. Make this little ball on the end of the hat. And I'm just coming up to the top here. So I'm trying to make a little deeper hole right here. This is this deeper hole right where that hat comes down there. So we're working in 3/4 inch thick. And with 3/4 inch thick, we need to roll this to round it. So I've got the sides rounded, the beard rounded, the hat rounded. So we're going to make the stop cuts a little bit deeper going around the sides here and just start doing the rounding. Now this ball on the end of the hat it doesn't go all the way down. So when we saw it out, it goes all the way down, and then we have to carve out the back side of that. We're going to worry about that later. So then you take the number 5 gouge, and you're just going to start rolling off all the edges of it. turn the gouge over so I can do this little ball. It's easier to round it that way. And I'm just going to reach underneath and start getting rid of that ball that goes all the way down to the board. I'm going to come back here and just start rounding the head a little bit. Now I'm just trying to get more of a curve on that hat going around. Then I'll go back with the V tool, create my lines in there again. I'm going to start roughing out that nose. It might be a good idea for you to go back in and draw that nose in and that eye again like this. And then this here eye is going to be almost under that hat. This one here, and then those cheeks will be nice and round like that. And then the beard coming around. So I'm going to start getting that side of the nose coming down, so you're kind of creating a little eye socket right here in the corner of that gouge, or the V tool rather, like that. And then the other side of the eye. So I'm trying to leave this eyeball kind of that little peak we talked about raised up. I'm making the round for the cheek. Cutting the bottom of the nose. And the bottom of that cheek over here, that round part of the cheek. And the top part of the cheek. I'm going to make that nose a little wider, so I'm taking the V tool and I just stepped it out a little bit, making that groove go out a little bit more. Turning my number 5 gouge over, I'm rounding off that cheek. And lowering it a little lower than the nose. Careful not to lose that portion of the eye. So I'm setting that eye back in a little bit more and getting that rounded cheek right up to the bottom of that eye. Just going to take the wood off for the rounding of this beard here, so I get the rounding of the side of that face. I'm going to do the same on this side. Just waste that wood away there. I'm just trying to get the nose to protrude right now, and these cheeks to be a little bit lower, but I want these cheeks to protrude also. Now the nose, I can round that nose a little bit, slope it down in, and the front bottom part of the nose I can round. And I'm going to cut the under part of that nose a little deeper. Clean up here around, kind of define that eye a little bit better. This cheek I'm raising a little bit higher, so you can kind of see where that eyeball is going to end up. And then this one here will be a little bit lower, so you can see more of the eye. I'm going to take the gouge, number 5 gouge again, and just kind of do the underside, smooth this off so I can start on the mouth. Now the mouth is just going to be a V-tool cut like this and a V-tool cut like this. And these, I'm going to make these deeper here, and that's how I'm going to make that cheek puff out a little bit, like that. So be careful not to lose the wing of that nose in making that a little bit deeper. What I want to trying to do is get more of that dental arch right around the mouth to roll this side off a little bit deeper. Define this ball on the hat a little bit better over here. Now I can see that cheek is puffing out pretty nice. And this side here, to sink that dental arch, there's more of a curve right there where the dental arch is. Round that nose a little bit. And then we'll go back with the V-tool and redo those lines a little deeper. The top of this cheek here that I'm trying to make round is also the bottom of the eye. I'm going to try to do the same thing here and tuck that in right underneath the hat there. So bring this around, and his beard is going to blend right into there. So I'm going to get rid of this flatness now down here. So I'm rounding it this way. And also I'm going to tuck the beard in a little bit too. And then the top here, I'm going to sink it down to the mouth a little bit. So then we're going to do a little plan here with the beard. So I'm just going to kind of make these lines, plan where I'm going to run the V-tool real heavy to make some of the texturing for the beard. And this is where that one eye is going to be, and this is where the other eye. You can kind of see where that mouth is going to go. And I need to make it deeper here and here to get that so it's pulling back. So I take that V-tool, and we're going to increase the depth of that mouth, especially right where it goes right into the cheek there. Now I'm going to stay away from that bottom lip a little bit. I don't want to run the beard right up to it, the texturing. I'll stop short of it. The painting, you can just take regular acrylic paint or latex paint, mix it with a lot of water, paint it very lightly. You can always add more coloring if needed. Okay, so I'm going to go on the side of it now, where these lines are here on the side. I'm going to cut them down to the back. And then I'm going to define this line right here that goes up. Do a little bit more rounding here. I'll pull it out of the peg so you can kind of see it. And I need to get at this side here. A little bit more rounding. I like to leave my chisel marks on here, and where I put these V-tool lines in, take one side of your V-tool cut. Doesn't make any difference what side, and just kind of lower one side so it makes it a little bit of a different little pattern into it. I'm going to take the knife now and just use the tip of the knife to make the eyeballs in there. And all I'm doing is just taking a little bit of a notch out, just a little triangle. To cast a shadow in there. So you can see it a little better. I'm going to take the pencil and just go in there again. Take the pencil here, and then start smoothing off the cheek and that. Now what I like to do is texture the fur. This brim of this hat coming around is fur, and I like to texture the beard also. So it has some nice softness to it and a little fur type texture. So it's hard to see it on here in the camera, but what I do is I just rock the chisel. So I come with the chisel and I'm just dancing over the top. You can see I'm removing some of the material off of here. Just little tiny chips coming out. Putting like fur lines in there. The brim of the hat, I mean, it's curled up, so I kind of round that a little bit. And then the ball, the same thing, but I'm going to turn it over. So I'm using the gouge upside down and making the lines going around on the ball. Now for the beard, the same, but I'm going to do it a little heavier. So it's a little bit different than the hair up here. And I'm going to take it all the way down around the side. I'm going to cut this a little bit deeper in there. A bit more rounding. Now, normally when I'm varnishing this, I don't do much sanding before varnishing. I'll clean up and I'll kind of scrape my whiskers off here. But I leave a lot of the whiskers on until after I do the coloring and after I do the varnishing. What the varnish does is that kind of hardens the whisker a little bit where it's attached, and they break off easier. You can also see them a lot better too then. You might want to take the knife, and where these holes end abruptly, just extend them a little bit more as you change the depth coming up out of there also here. So just kind of use your imagination and see what it looks like. I'm just going to smooth the cheek off a little bit more. Get rid of my pencil line on the nose. And now the underside of the nose here, the nostrils, I'm going to take that V-tool and I'm just going to go on this side to put a little bit of the nostril on this side and a little bit on this side. And then I just take the pencil in there, and I just put a little bit of a shadow just for the nostril there. And take the V tool and clean up this little corner here. Do some more definition on the side here with the hair where it meets the beard, and just kind of blend it all together. I'm just kind of scraping off the whiskers and getting it ready to put the finish on. There, you got yourself a Christmas ornament. Now, normally how I hang these, you can hang them on the wall. I just cut a V in the back. So what I want, if I put the hanger here, it's going to hang down kind of straight. And I want that head cocked a little. So I'm going to put the hanger right there. If I hang it on the wall, that's where the hanger is going to be. So just a little nail in the wall or little pin is all you need to hang this on. Now, if you're going to hang it onto the tree, then there's a little brass eyelet you can buy. And I've got some here that I use. There's a little screw on that eyelet, and you can just screw that right in the top. And so I also want the ornament to kind of sit on the side. So towards the back, I will screw this thing in. So I'll probably clean it up just a little bit more before I put on the paint. And I don't paint the face. The face looks natural enough with just the natural wood and the varnish on it. So I just dilute the white paint very much. You see how much of the wood is still showing through, and the red is very muted on there. So I dilute red paint very much too. The difference, I can see a little difference. This cheek here is a little bit smaller. This one's puffed out more. So probably what I'll do is I will correct this cheek on this side here and just make it a little bit smaller. And then the V tool just to finish off the texturing of the hair there. This just helps with the little smile line in there, makes them grin more by putting heavier shadow in there. Okay, there you have it. There's a Santa.